All right, let's call the meeting to order. First, we'll have roll call.
Ms. Bex, Ms. Harrell, I believe she's excused. Ms. Hedlund, Mr. Jacobson, I'm sorry. That's wrong. Mr. Miller,
I'm here, Suki.
Ms. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Orcherton,
Here.
Mr. Robinson, Ms. Salmon,
Here.
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Okay. Next, we have approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Did anybody have any questions or comments about those? Oh, yeah, if the light's on. So,
I'll move approval of the minutes.
okay, can I have a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. We're going to move on to the staff report. Rachel, you're on.
I just had an addition to the agenda.
Oh, okay, go ahead with that first.
Just quick additions to the agenda. We are not receiving a report from Kelsey Langley from COOP today. She will be moved to next month. And we have two additions. Nikki Hoseman from Read Across America will be presenting the 2018 Read Across America grant. And then Jason Mekadara from the CU Jazz Festival will be presenting the 2018 CU Jazz Festival.
Is it Jason or Justin? Justin. Okay. All right, good enough.
Okay, good evening. This is your May report from staff. It is a little bit lengthy and it includes a video, so bear with me. First and foremost, I want to make the commission aware of some changes we have to our overall staffing of the department, and namely through interns and new volunteers through different kinds of employment programs that we were able to sign up the Urbana Arts and Culture program for. Namely, as far as actual new staff positions at the city, we did get approved a program specialist position, so we are currently accepting applications for that. The program specialist will be shared between Market at the Square and the Urbana Arts and Culture program. It's not per se an even sort of split. We kind of, depending on the time of year, I'll have that person working with me perhaps a little bit more, and the market, especially during market season, will have that person working with them a little bit more, if that makes sense. So we have applications available at urbanaillinois.us/jobs, and we're currently accepting applications. They remain open. If anyone is interested, we invite them to apply. Just to be clear, this position provides year-round support to a range of administrative event and promotional activities for both programs, and we are soliciting those applications in collaboration with the Human Resources Division. I also want to mention that we were awarded an Illinois Arts Council Summer Youth Employment Grant in the amount of $1,800. So that will also fund another summer youth employee working with us, paid for through the Arts Council grant. And that is one that we have received in the past, so we're excited to be able to hire a high schooler who is local. That application is also currently open, so if you or anyone you know would be interested in applying, please send them their way. Of course, the requirements are that they are an active high schooler. I also am proud to announce that we have a couple of new interns through the Community Learning Lab, and you've heard me mention this before. This is a program through the University of Illinois School of Social Work that actually serves the entire campus. So the program helps pair students with work experiences. It is of no cost to our program to have these interns. This intern, Shang Qianji, who goes by John, is a graduate student from the College of Business. He recently joined our staff, has hit the ground running, is working on a lot of promotional things, especially around Urbana's downtown Get Down with me, but he is studying business and will received his master's actually this past weekend, but he aims to focus in the arts and business administration. I also want to introduce Lenjun Wu, who goes by Leona, who's a graduate student also in the same department through the College of Business, also received her master's degree this past weekend, will be working with us through the Community Learning Lab and hopes to focus her work on arts-based consulting in the future. Both Leona and John have spent a lot of time working on promotions for Urbana's Downtown Get Down and working on a lot of the behind-the-scenes projects related to sponsorships and such. So I'm really excited to actually introduce them in person next month. They'll be able to attend and they'll be participating in our Arts Commission meetings. I also want to mention that we were signed up to be part of the Care for You program, which is through the Regional Planning Commission. This is another summer youth employment program where the student gets paid directly through the Regional Planning Commission's grant program. So Kaylee Krishonen is a sophomore at Urbana High School and joined our staff through this program, which places summer students in employment opportunities at no cost again to the organization. Kaylee starts in June, and I've similarly invited her to come to our June Commission meeting. So hopefully you'll get to meet all three of these new folks that are coming to us through other kinds of programs that are of no cost to our program. And to be clear, Kaylee has a certain number of hours that she has to work for the summer, whereas John and Leona are selecting the amount of hours that they want to work. So certain weeks they're working 10 hours a week. Some weeks they're even working a little bit more than that. I'm really excited to have their support and have also, I think, strengthening our connections with the Urbana School District and the University of Illinois through a lot of the relationships there. I want to mention, of course, our ongoing programs are those that are bolded, but we have a lot of things that are coming up. Thank you to those of you who attended our sneak peek celebration. Our cycle for 2019 Arts Grants is in full swing. In fact, we've even had Blue STEM Westie Fusion Fest, the Immersion Experimental Music and Arts Festival, the Biziki Culture and Dance Company, and Asia Fest already completed successful projects in the month of April alone. So this is a really exciting project, of course. Our Arts Grants are really what we're known for, I think, in the community, and obviously give the direct benefit to the artists and arts organizations. If you have not yet been out to one of these events, I really encourage you as commissioners to also go and attend as many of the events that you see and that you're available for. We have a listing of those events, and I always encourage the grantees that you'll hear from today as well to always submit those events to me so that I can send them out. We include them on our social media pages, any online calendars that we have, so do check out what's coming up there. Again, thank you to those who came out to our sneak peek celebration, especially those of you who helped MC the event and list off the awardees. It was really wonderful to have you there and to have such a presence. We were really delighted to have Mayor Diane Wolf-Marlin also give a few comments at the beginning. But this was held at Blackbird this past April 6th and 16th and featured live music, hors d'oeuvres, and a presentation of the grant recipients. And I'm really excited to also share that this month's edition of Art Now is a 100th anniversary episode, and I am going to make you watch it. So hold on just a minute. This is a really special episode because we've actually hit 100 episodes with our Art Now mini documentary series that airs on UPTV and on YouTube. It's also been turned into a podcast that airs on WRFU and online. And on occasion, we've collaborated with Smile Politely to have that be a feature story about the person that's also being featured in Art Now as kind of a continuation that links then back to the video. But I'm excited to share this with you. And I guess here it is. Oh no, and it needs sound. Oh, it should have sound. Brandon's going to go ask Jason. This 100th anniversary episode, we acknowledge all of the people that have made the program possible, including everyone who's ever been on the show and everyone who's ever hosted or filmed the show, even as a part-time videographer at UPTV, or the vast majority were filmed by our station manager, Jason Liggett. So I will also be just sharing with you the entirety of the video so that you can also see the breadth of people that have been on. Huh? Oh, come back to it. Okay. All right. Put a pin in it. I am going to make you watch it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But we'll move on and we'll come back to that at the end. As far as Artist of the Corridor, I'm excited to report that our after-hours exhibition as part of Boneyard Arts Festival, which had opening and reception in April as part of Boneyard, was an absolute success. It was really fun to have this council chamber space turned into a stage, and we had staff from the city as well as the library performing things like theater monologues and experimental music. It was really unique to see. Thank you to those of you who came. This display is up through the end of May, and you can see it as you leave, at least the part that's here. The rest, of course, is at the library. But this all comes from city staff and library staff, and what we're hoping to do is actually keep this as an annual tradition to have an annual employee staff show. We had a lot of interest, including from folks who said they wanted to make something all brand new, and now that they know a year in advance they're going to make something for next year. And we hope to grow the sort of reception that included a talent portion as well, because people really enjoyed that. But I'm also excited to report that we'll have another exhibition very soon, of course, at the beginning of June. This is Linocut, and actually it's called Linocut in Ink, and that will be work by Urbana High School students. This is actually our 2019 Urbana Arts in the Schools grant. So we funded a project at Urbana High School for a printmaker, Lisa Kessler, to work as a part of an artist in residency over a few weeks, working with students, teaching them all kinds of printmaking. And the students will have a display. Lisa will have a couple of her pieces in as well, and this will be up over most of the summer. So we're excited about that. I'll have more details about the receptions and artist talk in accordance with that. One of the things, of course, that we continue to do is all of our art at the markets, but we did finish up Art in the Square, which is part of Urbana's Market in the Square, Indoor Farmers Market. Our last concert featured Hobnob String Band, and it actually ended up being in conjunction with what was the Market in the Square's Easter brunch that they did. So they actually played while the brunch was going on. This brunch was done with cooking from Stango Cafe, and Stango being a new restaurant who just added breakfast, it was a really wonderful opportunity to kind of share their work too. We continue with this market at the Square, which is our outdoor farmers market concerts. These are year-round, second Saturday of the month, always at the same time. The first one we had this past Saturday featured music by Jinx, which is Elizabeth Simpson and Cody Jensen, and various arts activities. I want to mention that we will continue to do some special events this summer at the Farmers Market. In particular, on August 10th, we'll be celebrating National Farmers Market Week, which is also the market's, incidentally, the market's 40th anniversary. So we'll have a kind of a special assortment of arts-related, but also maybe veggie-themed activities going on at the Farmers Market that week. And then we will also continue with our Market at the Scare programming in October, the second Saturday of October. I mentioned to you at a previous meeting that we were exploring something that we would be calling the North Row Arts Market, and potentially doing a more regular curation of arts activities at the market on second Saturdays that would include artist booths. We did some preliminary discussions about that and determined that we should wait till next year. We'll be revisiting this, but doing a little bit more research and getting more and more input from folks who would be impacted by that decision. So excited about what that is, it could be, but we're at least tabling it for the time being, so I wanted to give you that update. I'll also share that Young Artist Studio continues. Our most recent one was Madhubani Art with Shraddha Tiwari, and that was at, on April 28th at the Urbana Free Library. It was wonderfully attended. I should be including pictures of each of these, but you can find the pictures that were taking place at all of the workshops on our Facebook page. And Shraddha did a fantastic job also talking quite a bit about the history. She's going to school for what she hopes to be really kind of getting her arts degree, but focusing a lot in cultural arts. So we were excited to have her. And then our next one features Hila Kelly, who is part of the Independent Media Center's Zine Librarian Group, and they're going to be doing a project on Kids Make Zines. The Arts and Culture program also had a presence at the recent Small Press Fest that took place at the Independent Media Center. I saw Stacy there. I don't know if other commissioners ended up making it out to that event, but it was truly fantastic. Another great example of lots of local arts organizing. They didn't end up applying for an arts grant, but I certainly encourage them to do it next year. I also want to mention that our sculpture races got to participate in the Illinois Marathon recently. This is Bobby Joe Scribner's piece that we installed this last fall. And you could see in these pictures, it's kind of hard to see, but you can, all of our sculpture pieces we're wearing the race bibs, and they had their own numbers. This was, of course, with permission and blessing from the artist. We got some pictures of people running past. This was in the wee hours of like 7:15 in the morning during the marathon. But it was really wonderful to have that sculpture be a part. For those of you who may be unfamiliar, Races by Bobby Joe Scribner, as part of the Urbana Sculpture Project, was installed in the past year and will stay for a period of 2 years. This sculpture was put intentionally on Race Street, and it was pointed in the direction that the runners are running. So there was some deliberate placemaking with that sculpture, and we were excited to include it in the Illinois Marathon this year. I also want to just make mention of, we've had a lot of events this past month since I've seen you last, so it's just worthwhile mentioning all the different ones that we've had going on. Of course, Boneyard Arts Festival was a major event in our area. It was a grantee project, and we love to also participate through our contribution, which is Urbana Celebrates the Boneyard, our annual event that's in Boneyard Creek Crossing. So these are some pictures from the event that we did. You can see here that we had food trucks, we had lots of different organizations tabling with interactive activities for youth. We had Joyful Bubbles there, we had puppets, we had performances, we had music from Dance Music Therapy, our own sculpture, Ice Pops, which is the other sculpture that we installed, is down in the bottom right corner, and that too became a focal point of that event. So it was really wonderful to have so many people out. Thank you to anyone around the table that came. We will intend to do this, of course, again next year. This was our 5th anniversary one, and each year I'm hoping to grow it a little bit and maybe even eventually kind of move towards under the bridge into the other side of the Boneyard too. So these are wonderful opportunities for our arts commissioners to also volunteer their time, and thank you to those who did. I'm looking forward to continuing to grow that program. I also want to mention Murals on Glass, because we're coming up on the time when we tend to also put out announcements about Murals on Glass and solicit collaborations. So this would be the 5th cycle of Murals on Glass. We seek a resident artist from Champaign County to have their work reproduced on adhesive vinyl and adhere to the front windows of the municipal buildings in town. The selected location this year will be Cunningham Township's office front windows. And I've been researching additional initiatives that could be incorporated into this program. Murals on Glass has really been just absolutely fantastic program for getting murals, digital murals, on our downtown buildings. And one of the things that we've come to learn is that those murals can stay up for a long time. In fact, that adhesive vinyl lasts for a very, very long time without really any wear and tear for years. So it's been exciting to keep those up for as long as the artist has been interested in having them, which typically is like however long. Murals on Glass, though, has some opportunities to maybe think of new ways to engage in the murals project. So we have only a limited number, of course, of municipal buildings in our downtown. We've got like a couple on the parking garage. We have a couple on these different, some buildings have seen more than one. The Civic Center is the site of maybe 4. So we're looking for new opportunities to kind of grow that program. So I've been in touch with the arts directors of Aurora, City of Aurora, where actually is my hometown, and the City of Elgin, because they both have utility box wrap programs. So I wanted to share some information here about utility box wraps. These are just some examples of how this can look. My hope is to potentially pilot doing a utility box and one of our downtown, our Cunningham Township this year, to just see how it goes. I have a lot of information from both those arts coordinators, including suggestions about call for proposals, gaining sponsorships, because it would be wonderful to get some of them sponsored, and otherwise kind of grow more of a wrap program that may be able to go beyond the window and move around to different parts of the downtown. So I just shared some images here because I wanted to, if you had not seen a utility box wrap program, I'm certain most of you have. In fact, I think we've even talked a little bit about them in here or individually with different folks around the table. But here's some just pictures of what those have looked like in other cities. And I would love to just hear any feedback you have about whether this is something you would enjoy seeing, would like me to explore further and potentially pilot this summer. Yes, tell me.
Yikes. I moved here several years ago, and the city I came here from had them, and we found that not only were they a lovely addition to the city, but they also had a tendency to weirdly make people treat the space better. So there was less littering and less graffiti, and there was just that less sort of that the negative wear and tear on the space that happens when people don't care for it and care about it. And we never regretted it. It was just a wonderful thing, and they're everywhere. You don't realize how many of them are until you start decorating them, and suddenly you realize there are hundreds in town.
In fact, I did get a listing of all the utility boxes in our downtown from our public works staff, because I just wanted to get a sense, and yes, there are lots of utility boxes. Yep, absolutely. Other thoughts?
Are these mostly supposed to be in the downtown area, or would we sort of put them in the business areas as well?
Of
like
course,
at
with
Cunningham?
sponsorship, they could be somewhere else, but if we are using our TIF monies, they would need to be in our downtown TIF district.
Right.
But even with our Murals on Glass program, I've often talked with business owners if they'd like to privately sponsor one. We could do one on their building as well. So that continues to be something that I talk with business owners about as far as ways that they can benefit from the arts program. I plan to bring it up on an upcoming business and developers luncheon that we're having that's on the arts and creativity in downtown Urbana, as other ways that businesses can also engage in the arts. And collaborate with us, because I can provide some of that like curatorial support and things like that, but we'd ultimately like to just see more in our downtown. Any other thoughts? Do I get a general sense of like blessing to move forward and explore this further? I see some nods. Okay, great. I'll continue to kind of look into that, and you will see very soon the call for proposals for the Murals on Glass piece that will be at Cunningham Township released soon. I've been working with Cunningham Township staff to also measure their windows and get a real good sense of what we will need and what their desires would be around a piece that would also serve to really enliven the work that they're already doing and reflect their own mission. So that brings me to the thing that's been keeping me up and excited and moving for quite a while, and also Jared's been up and excited and moving quite a while because he's been helping quite a bit with graphic design. But that's Urbana's Downtown Get Down, and a lot of these beautiful graphics we can thank Jared Miller for. So thank you also, Arts Commissioner, who hit the ground running super fast, volunteering his time. I am really excited to report that this has more than taken shape at this point. We're really excited for the kickoff on May 25th. I could use volunteers, so if arts commissioners are interested in volunteering for Day of Support, we have like info tents that could use staffing that would even have information about the arts program where you could talk more about other programs and events that we do. We could use support for the Teen Maker Lab if making is something that excites you, or curating what we hope will be kind of like a mini open scene at one end of the street where we have like a rotating street performance that's happening and people signing up for slots. We have a need for volunteers who could assist with the Kids Zone. We have a need for volunteers who could assist with the Community Corner. And that's where an area where we have, actually, why don't I take a moment to tell you about the whole scope of the event at this point. I should have included in here a map, but if you go to getdownurbana.com, we'll be uploading the map later this evening, and that map has a lot of information about what is available at the entirety of the Get Down. So this is on Main Street and Race Streets in downtown Urbana. We'll have on Main Street the sort of street performance area. We've got a couple of live art demos. We'll have the Teen Maker Lab space where we have a number of organizations, and that's partially curated with our partner, the Urbana Free Library, as an outgrowth of their Teen Open Lab. So you might have heard me gush about their Teen Open Lab in the past. I think not only is it cultivating a lot of arts, but we, of course, granted them this year in 2019 to also formulate a mini gallery downstairs of the teen artwork that's coming out of that space. So it really is growing as a fantastic program. They've come on as a partner for the Downtown Get Down to create a Maker Lab area that'll have things like 3D printers and laser etching and so much more just in that little area for people to test out. You know, it's sort of marketed towards teens. All of these things are, of course, open to people of all ages, but we also want to particularly invite different age groups to participate. So that is kind of an outgrowth of that. It'll feature the Fab Lab. It'll feature Maker Girl. Weiskamp's doing screen printing. The Teen Open Lab's going to have a variety of their own things out. So that's just to give you a sense of that. Then a little bit further down the street, 40 North is curating the arts market, and that'll feature a variety of artists who are actually selling their wares and their artwork at that market space. And so then we head into the intersection of Race and Main. Right past the intersection where the Curbana is, we're going to be having a stage, and that's where the mobile stage from the Park District, which is a brand new stage that they've purchased, will be out. We'll have a DJ on that stage for the first hour and a half, and then we'll have live music for the second hour and a half. And so that's really exciting for us as far as the stage is concerned. But if you go down either side of Race Street, so follow me here mentally, the C4A, Rose Bowl, Courier area of Race Street, so North Race Street, we will have the community corner, and that's actually going to have a wide variety of community organizations that are tabling with arts activities. So things that those include are like CU Poetry Group doing some poetry writing on the street. We'll have Twin City Theater Company doing kind of short skits theater activities. So we have lots of different things going on in that direction, but nonprofits can sign up as long as they're not vending. They can sign up for a spot. And for anyone listening, there's still opportunities to sign up as an artist, as a vendor, but also as the people who are tabling as a nonprofit and not selling. And we encourage them to have some sort of interactive activity that reflects the arts, culture, and or the city of Urbana. I did skip over one thing, which is that nearing the intersection before you get to Race, we do have 2 food trucks set up too. One will be a dessert truck, one will be a dinner truck, and they'll be kind of on either side of the street. On the opposite end of Race, so that's South Race, we have a kids zone. That's barricaded off, 280 feet of barricades, and inside of it are inflatables. And then the Park District has recreational games and activities, and that is curated by the Park District. The Park District staff are staffing that, and it actually allows for ages 5 and up to have drop-off childcare for a period of time. So you can sign in your kid, go and walk around the festival, come back, pick them up. They've had a ball with the Park District, and that's all there too. It is for 5 and up. Of course, if you want to be in the kids zone yourself with your child, that's absolutely permissible and encouraged. And of course, younger kids can come in the kids zone as well with things that are there. We have face painting lined up. We've got a couple. In the Busey lot, we'll have a hoop station from Satina, and we'll also have some different kind of pop-up arts activities in the Busey lot. But that is what it looks like, and it's pretty big. So we've been excited about how it's been really well received, and we've had a lot of people step forward saying they want to participate in some way. We also, of course, are promoting things happening on those dates in the entirety of the downtown. So we really have, the Main Street activities are only from 5 to 8, but we're promoting what's happening downtown each and every evening. So for instance, every Urbana Downtown Get Down actually coincides with Latin dance nights at Urbana Dance Company. So right at 8 p.m., our Get Down ends our live music on Main Street, and you can go right up the stairs to Urbana Dance Company and participate in Latin Dance Night. All of our local music venues, the Rose Bowl, Iron Post, Blackbird, so many also have live concerts going on, and they are all submitting me details about what's happening. All of those are published then on our pages, as well as on getdownurbana.com, which is our website. That's what comes to mind right now. We have a variety of sponsors. Those sponsors have also helped us get a lot of marketing out, including Cranert listing it in their program. We've got MTD sponsoring some bus ads for us, so you'll see those pop up next week, hopefully. We've got Stevie J Radio and News Gazette Media airing different commercials that we've recorded, WRFU airing our commercials. So it's getting around, but anything you can do to continue to spread the word about this event, I think this event will really help amplify the things that are going on in our downtown, highlight our businesses and the ways they're giving back to the arts, because that is huge. Urbana is like the spot to be right now for the arts. We've got live music every night in downtown Urbana. So that's really exciting, and we're really hoping that this will help kind of continue to elevate what's already happening in the downtown. As usual, we also seek volunteers, and just so you see it, we also have And thank you, Jared, again, for, just as all Jared, beautiful design work. We have on May, June, July, and August, different DJs and live music. So you can see May 25th, we kick off with DJ Medusa and live music by Timbaloo. June 22nd, we have dance music therapy followed by Big Mo and the Fat Groove. July 27th, we have DJ West Gile and Therapy. And then August 24th, we've got DJ Silky and New Souls, and that 24th date is part of Urbana Sweet Corn Festival. So if you're doing the math, we're effectively adding another corridor to Urbana Sweet Corn Festival, so that event is growing too. So we're excited about all of that, and I continue to seek volunteers. So again, if you want to be involved in day of setting up, and or you have something to offer in terms of help with marketing and promotions especially, and getting the word out, I would love to hear more from you. We have taken a variety of steps to really reach out to folks who are either underserved or maybe don't hear enough about these events. And that includes, this has gone out to directly to all of the participants at Cunningham Township. We have French and Spanish flyers going in Urbana School District, so they will go home and take home folders of all Urbana School District students. So I'm excited about that. We also have worked with some of the local immigration groups to make sure that we get information out and inviting them to have booths at the festival. So there's a lot that's kind of coming together with that. But if you have other groups that you'd like to see it or places you'd like to see it posted, I do have extra flyers. There's some in the back. Do take them and feel free to put them up. As long as they're facing in a public place, you're welcome to take one. And that's really that on the get down. I just mentioned in my report that I did also give a few different presentations on the Arts and Culture Commission's programs as well as the Downtown Get Down recently, and those were at basically the Family Community Liaisons meeting, and then I'm scheduled, and that's for Urbana School District 116. And then I'm also, I've got on my schedule to go to Illinois International. I'm giving a presentation on global education and training program at U of I, which is a summer program, and then East Central Illinois Refugee Mutual Assistance Center, East Cermak, as well as the supervisor's office, Cunningham Township. And that's it. Thank you. Questions? Oh, video. Can we do the video? Is it going to work? We'll
Are you
see.
sure you want to take the time now, because we've got a number of grant presentations?
I wonder if you're saying that because you're in it.
That too, but, okay.
I can do it at the very end of our
Yeah,
meeting.
why don't you do that?
Okay, let's do that. So I'll pass the baton to our grant presentations.
Okay, we're going to have grant presentations next. Our first one's going to be from Luis Gonzalo Pinilla on Faces Only the Location.
Nice to meet you. My name is Gonzalo.
My name is Patricia.
First of all, we want to thank the Urbana Public Art Programs for this great opportunity. And we have a little announcement before doing our report. It's the opening of a mural project that we did with funding from 2017 from the Urbana grants. Is this coming Friday, May 17, from 4 to 5 at Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School. So we were waiting for Urbana City official for installing the mural, so that's why it takes a little time for getting it. But yeah, we hope see you there on Friday for this opening. The Faces Only Allocation. Faces Only Allocation project reflects on identity as it relates to the experience of living in a cultural diverse community. The leading artists, Patricia Leon and Gonzalo Pinilla, in this project provided a series of workshops, free workshops, guided in photography, mixed graphic media for women of different nationalities. We offer technical and conceptual resources to produce a collective artwork that was displayed in April 6, from April 6 at the Independent Media Center in Urbana. Participants in this project were encouraged to reflect on their experiences as women by exploring themes of memory, ideas of identity, self-recognition, and diversity. They were also motivated to work collaboratively and to contribute with their own cultural experience to the production of this art installation. Participants in this project were in contact with diverse technical skills and various media through which they could represent and articulate stories and narratives related to their own personal experiences living here in the city of Urbana. This collaborative project opens up the possibility for new means of artistic expression materializing through experimental artworks. Consequently, the project embraced the potential of social integration through art.
During the project, we were able to provide more than 15 uninterrupted workshops and involve 14 participants from 8 different countries. The project provided the opportunity for more visibility and empowerment of women through the arts. It offered a time of reflection through dialogue, artistic expression, and writing on the participants' intellectual, human, and artistic values as women. In the final presentation at the Urbana Independent Media Center, more than 100 people came to the opening reception. Additionally, grant funds were used for 8 months of the 2 organized professional services, teaching photography and print workshop for the international women community until the project completion on April 6th. The funds had a vital impact on the development of the project. They were used as support the professional service of organizers during the project planning and publishing. They were also used for supporting the time invested in preparing workshops and installing and presenting the final show. Additionally, funding also enabled us to obtain transportation in the city, load the equipment and materials needed for quality development of the project, as well as successfully manage the publicity and promotion of the project and recruit participants.
Working with partners were very important throughout the project. Thanks to the support of the Urbana Art Grants Program, we have a wide variety of materials to use during classes and workshops, as well as funds to support the transportation of all these materials and also the publicity. We also have a room provided by the University of Illinois Housing, both the Learning Resource Center and the Community Center, which we use for our workshops during the whole project. Another collaborative partner was the Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies. They provided us with prints and photocopies and helped us to invite and disseminate the information of the project. Other important collaborator was the School of Art and Design. They provide us with the Ink Lab printing shop, where we developed the final steps of the project, as well as the print media processes of that were involved in this project. And finally, an important collaborative partner was the Independent Media Center. They supported us providing the gallery space to exhibit the artworks that were displayed for a week. And then the Urbana Free Library helped us to advertise the project and in the news board. And the project was also included in the Bonjar Festival as was part of the programming of the festival as well. So once again, we want to thank you for this opportunity and for the this opportunity for provide our skills and put them in the service of the Urbana community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have comments or questions for them? Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you again for this work, and I was so delighted to see it as part of Boneyard Arts Festival. I thought the stars really aligned with that, and it was wonderful to see that exhibit up. And I also wanted to thank both of you. Both Luis Gonzalo and Patricia have really worked hard to get this mural up, and they've had a lot of adversity there with like the things that they've had to, hurdles to getting the mural. So I just want to echo, again, if anyone can join me on Friday to come with me as the Arts and Culture Commission, since this was a grant-funded project that it took a year to actually have installed, it'd be lovely to have your presence. I'll plan to be there as well, but I look forward to it. Thank you for pursuing this and not letting go of it, because it will have a lasting impact on the school. Yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions?
I guess not.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Angela Baldus, who's going to present on her grant, The Confessional.
Hi. Do I have to push that? No. Okay.
It's
All
on.
right. Thank you. All right. Hi. My name is Angela, and I'm presenting today on The Confessional, which is a mobile gallery space that was funded by the Urbana Public Arts Program. So thank you. And I'll just get started. So The Confessional, this is a painting I did, but The Confessional was built in the summer, this past summer of 2018, by myself, Walter Wilson, the Craner Art Museum exhibition and installation expert, and two friends, Ahu Yolak, and then his son, Henry Wilson. And this is what it looks like. So the space was designed to be assembled and disassembled and brought into different spaces, different public spaces. So it was built with to be light and maneuverable from space to space with just a team of 4 people. So myself and those 3 people really helped to make that happen. And then I'm going to just kind of show you where it went after we built it. So here is a space, the space installed outside of the South Studios. I was given space by the School of Art and Design to build the gallery, and then to successfully see it in movement, we just moved it outside of the studios for the first time to the street. So just to show you the size of it, there it is. And there's the team that helped me move it. But in addition to this, I did different advertising to show that I was going to have different events within this space, and developed a website with graphic designer Zach Tucker, who just recently graduated from the University of Illinois with his MFA in graphic design, and invited artist Erin Hayden to be the first artist to exhibit within the space. She is a Chicago artist who has presented work at the Museum of Contemporary Art. She went to Northwestern, and she is a current resident at the Chicago Artists Coalition. And this was some of the pictures of documentation of kind of our brainstorming of how things would look and happen. These are the risograph posters that I made to advertise the event. This is just some documentation of how we would route our travels. And then here is the space then installed at the SIP Yard, which happened on October 18th of 2018. And then the space was only up for one evening, so the idea was that it would be this kind of pop-up event that would kind of catch people off guard and be more of a happening. And then to sort of connect Urbana with other cities and art world people, we then brought, so here's some documentation, but we brought the space then the next day to St. Louis to an artist-run space called Monaco. So the Confessional moved with this same exhibit into that space, and that was a second iteration of the space. And here it is there. So it was in Monaco inside of artist Alison Locker's exhibition, Full Sun. And then here's another kind of just showing how I advertised and made posters specific to events. And this event that this poster advertised took place at the School of Art and Design in the Link Gallery with actually 6 different artists. There's 5 listed here, but a 6th joined later. 4 of them Urbana residents, and 2 of them have received grants for the next year, but Alicia de Leon and Paulina Camacho Valencia. But we participated with the School of Art the Society for Art History and Archaeology Saha Graduate Student Conference called Fictions and Frictions, The Power and Politics of Narrative. And so this space went to the Link Gallery for just 2 days during that conference, and then invited the artists to do different participatory performances with the space. So here's documentation of that. And then those were the main events that I've done so far with the space. The space still is mine, and moving forward, to just kind of give you an idea of what I plan to do, is to give the space to someone else that continue to utilize it for these same reasons. So it does need a home, and I am moving to Canada, so I can't take it anymore, but hopefully it will continue to be used. But thank you. You have a question?
Okay, thank you. Again, anyone have comments or questions?
So Angela just graduated this past weekend with her MFA from the U of I and is moving to get her PhD at the University of British Columbia. Is that right? Okay, I got that right. So I just wanted to congratulate you and acknowledge that in your short, I would say our relationship has been rather short in terms of being involved in the arts program, just pretty much a year. You've done so much beyond the grant program. Angela was also one of our featured artists of the corridors this past year and had an exhibit. So I just wanted to say thank you for being involved in our program. Best wishes as you continue on with your studies. It's exciting to see, and we will look forward to having you involved any time in the future when you've got this PhD and want to come back and be involved in other ways. So thank you.
Thanks very much.
Great, thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Derek Cordoba on the Quintet House Band.
So the concept of the Quintet project was to engage composers in the community that normally don't have access to a band. Students obviously have access to fellow students, but a lot of the people in the community might not be able to access professional musicians, or might not be able to afford to pay them, since a lot of gigs in town maybe are door deals and don't have a steady guarantee. So the idea was to engage the community, offer the ability to submit original compositions where the band would rehearse the compositions and then perform them. And based on the submissions, we set up a website where people could submit compositions. We tried to advertise as widely as we could. So, of course, we advertised at Parkland, at U of I. We also reached out to a little farther, EIU, the local music stores, and even put up flyers in the libraries, things like that, to try to reach as wide an audience as we could. We did get a fair amount of submissions, and the first concert was held in cooperation with the CU Jazz Festival. So the CU Jazz Festival provided the space. It was in the Cullen Building right here in downtown. I'm going to move forward in this here. So you can see that it took place on October 28th, 2018. So we had a variety of instrumentation there. We had a professional pianist, drummer, bassist, so the rhythm section to support the composers. And then we had a variety of horns, and I'm a guitarist, so I played guitar when it was called for. You can see it was pretty much to capacity. It was a small room, but it was full, and people seemed to enjoy it. We had a recent graduate, Connor Frederick, the trombone player, kind of in the corner there on the right. do an original composition. Kevin King, who's an undergraduate saxophone student, did an original composition as well. And one of the nice things about the project was there was a pretty wide range of kind of ages and backgrounds, I think, which was nice. It wasn't, I was kind of worried that it was just going to all be grad students or something like that. But we really tried to reach out to a wide range of people and levels of experience. Just a little more of the crowd there. Melinda Rose Rodriguez, who's a graduate student who just actually won the Ella Fitzgerald vocal competition in Washington, D.C., was the first place winner. So she's probably going to be very famous someday, so we can say that she was here in the community. Reggie Lewis, who is a saxophone player, who is a doctoral student at U of I. And Ben Nichols, saxophone player. So a lot of horn players on this and a couple of singers. One of the things I learned with the first event, I think, is even though we did try to reach a broad range of people, we did end up with a lot of U of I students, albeit of varying levels of undergrads, master students, and doctoral. So I tried to kind of reach a little farther the next time because there would be a second concert. And then over the course, of course, there's almost a year passed between the two concerts, well, not a year, about a half a year. And the other thing that started happening is it occurred to me that one of the things, other than Melinda, that I didn't get a lot of is female submissions. And there's, for those of you who are jazz fans, there's a lot of talk about women in jazz right now and how underrepresented they are in jazz. So it occurred to me, well, maybe we should kind of be a little, change it up a little bit. So for the second concert, rather than a completely open call, I did a Women Composers in Jazz concert. We created flyers, social media, reached out to all the same places, but I really tried to actively recruit and seek out women. I got a few of the more established female composers and performers in town to kind of reach out to some of their peers and their friends and try to encourage, especially the younger women, to submit compositions who might have been a little bit, maybe not as confident, let's say. So they had the option of performing with the group or not. So the group could play their composition, or they could join in with whatever instrumentation they wanted to try to make it kind of as appealing as possible. That concert was held at the Iron Post. It was a free event also. Both of the events were free to the public. It was very well attended, although I don't think I had a lot of crowd shots there. So that's the rhythm section. And this is Melinda again. She submitted another composition. Janelle Orcherton submitted a composition. Susie Nichols, who's not affiliated with the university, was a singer. And unfortunately, I don't have a system to play it through, but I will, if there's time, play you just like a split, a couple of seconds of her performance. Grace Calderon, who's a freshman, I believe, in the jazz program, saxophone player. And in the back you see Crystal Rebone, who submitted several compositions. She's a doctoral candidate at the U of I. And Karen Blackall, who chose not to perform on her piece, but she did an arrangement for the group. Joy Yang, who also chose not to, as she said, the piano player is so good, I'd rather the piano player play my song. So she submitted an original composition as well. And I don't know if you can see the cameras, but this was all filmed. Unfortunately, the footage was just put together by the students in Allen Hall Unit 1, who's a partner in documenting this. So we did audio recordings and video recordings, but I couldn't get my hands on the box link to get the video. But there was video taking of this event. Emma Taylor also chose not to perform, but her composition was featured. I just want to play a snippet of this. I know this is Susie Nichols.
You're good to me. Why must you mean to me? Gee, honey, it's me to me. You're not to see me crying. I
partnered with Allen Hall, like I said, to videotape the events, and also with the recording class at Allen Hall to record all the events. So all the compositions were recorded, mixed, mastered, and made available to the performers. So that was one of the kind of perks for doing it. So especially for the younger students who maybe didn't have access to getting their stuff recorded and played, or for the community members who might not have access to recording equipment and a professional band. So that was the concept behind it. And I think both concerts went very well. And I hope to actually, not this year, but next year, expand on the female composers and maybe go just, not just jazz, but outside of that as well, because that was a really cool event. And I think that's probably the direction in the future it'll go. So I thank you for the support for the event.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great project. Great project, and keep us updated on what you do in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, next we'll have Nikki Hosman, who's going to talk about Read Across America.
Hello. I'm so excited to be sharing this information with you guys today. Let's see. Okay. All right, so I'm presenting the Read Across America event. This is one of the coolest things. So I come to you guys from the Urbana Park District, and one of the cool privileges that I have there is to chair the Read Across America committee. And so every year we plan this huge community event. And this is kind of just a little bit about it. So we're promoting reading and literacy to young children. So this is kind of a little bit about the event. So we have professional storytellers. I'll list those out here in a minute, but they're wonderful, incredible people who come in and share stories professionally with us. We have celebrity greeters that come from different community organizations. So we try to have principals, firefighters have come and greeted the kids, and so it's a really cool thing, at least to witness, watch the children get so excited to see their teacher or their librarian greet them when they arrive. We also have storytelling, different Rotary groups. We had 6 Rotary groups last year that came and read stories to the kids, so that was really neat. We also offer reading. They read books and tell stories in languages other than English, and I'll have a kind of a breakdown of those different languages here in a second. We also have a parent and toddler area at the event. I try to call this the sensory area for kids who kind of get overwhelmed by all the chaos that's happening, or if there's not kind of activities or things for smaller children. That's a really good area for them to have during the event. And we have lots of, like I mentioned, hands-on educational activities, and those are sponsored by 40 different community organizations that help with us, and I'll show you guys that list in a second. And then another really awesome thing that we have is that each child who arrives gets a free tote bag and a free book. And so I'll kind of show you about the tote bag here. So this is the child, she's from Barksdall, and she created the artwork on the front of that bag, which is really cool. We had an art competition at that school. She won first place, and so she got her artwork on the bag, and 1,000 kids have her artwork, which I think is awesome. And then the runner-up, this child got his artwork on the sticker card. And so when each child arrives, they get a tote bag and then a sticker card. And the sticker card prompts them to go to different booths, listen to storytellers, and do different activities throughout the day. And then they can submit that sticker card for a free book. And so there's kind of a snapshot of the book table. And so like I mentioned, we have 40 different partners who helped us with the 18th annual event, and here's kind of a rundown of all of those folks who were able to help us. And these are the professional storytellers. I was so excited about the lineup for the 18th annual year. So these are the people who professionally were shown on the main stage, and they had about 30 minutes each that they were able to share their stories with us. And so these are the different languages that we were able to offer reading and storytelling. And so I thought this was one of the coolest things, that we're able to reach people in the languages that they do speak. And we also, this is another really cool thing, I forgot about this. So we did an art show with different schools. So this is what Canaan Academy, they created art, and our theme was Read Across the World. And so they created art based around that. Urbana Middle School and Urbana Early Childhood School also submitted pieces from their students, which was really neat. So here's a couple of photos of just the event day itself. On the right side, you can see that's one of the Rotary clubs. So like I said, we had 6 Rotary clubs who came in and volunteered their time and told stories. Here's a couple other photos of the event. On the far right, I did want to point this out. So the children who, well, all children receive a free book, but they're handpicked and selected, and people from Altrusa International of Champaign-Urbana, they volunteer their time and come and talk to each of these kids and find a book that's at their reading level and a book that they're interested in. So they don't just come up and just grab something that looks cool. They're actually, the volunteers interact with them and find a book that's best for them, which I think is super neat. And there's a couple more photos. On the left side, that's our world language area. And on the right, I did want to point this out. So we also partner with Lincoln's Challenge, and they send cadets to volunteer with us for the day. So that's like, they every year they're so excited to attend, and they just love being out and hanging out with kids, because it's not something, you know, that they typically get to do every day. So that's one of the coolest things, I think, about this event. And that's all. There's our Facebook page and our Park District website, if you want to learn about our next year, our 20th annual event. I'm super excited. We're gonna go really big next year. Yeah, that's all I got.
Excellent. Comments or questions? Okay. Sure, go ahead.
Making comments, sorry.
Hey, it's all
Nikki,
right.
thank you so much. I want to encourage you to consider our arts and culture commissioners as potential celebrity greeters, because they're all celebrities in my heart, and it would be lovely to have them there. And I know a few probably have already participated in it, but it would be great to have them, and I can't wait to see what you do for the 20th anniversary. Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. The last grant presentation will be Justin McDara for the Siyuk Jazz Festival.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Justin McAdera. I am the Executive Director for Music Defying Boundaries. Music Defying Boundaries is a nonprofit organization here.
Could you
our
speak
goal
it to
is-
the microphone, please?
Sorry, yes, absolutely, thank you. The goal for Music Defying Boundaries is to engage individuals with experimental and improvised music, and this is through a number of different things, including education, performance, and documentation. The organization itself is a large umbrella organization, and as you can see on here, there's some different things that we do. For instance, there is a group that we represent, Stream of Consciousness, a group that I'm a part of, and it's more experimental music and that type of thing. We also do podcasts and radio that we're going to be starting to connect with the community and that type of thing. But then one of the biggest arms that we are affiliated with is the CU Jazz Festival, which is going to be in its 5th year. So this last year we had a very big attendance, lots of growth and that type of thing, and we're expecting the same thing this year. So this is the mission statement for the Champaign-Urbana Jazz Festival, and I'll just read it quickly. Stimulate sense of pride in the jazz community, promote the enjoyment and art of jazz music, showcase local, regional, and national jazz artists, bring support to businesses supporting live jazz, contribute to the artistic strength of the area, provide opportunities for focused, quality social interactions, and elevate area as destination for music, which we're already starting to see. As we can see, as many different things. I mean, we were just talking with Rachel, bringing up all of the different musical things that are starting to happen in this area. So this is some of the highlights from this last year's events. We had the Jazz Brunch. This is a really interesting performance that happened at the Cohen Building as well, and a real just intimate type of thing. A little trio that played. Actually, no, it was a duo. It was a couple of local artists that performed for it, and we had some people donating money and food for the event and that type of thing. And it's always that's one of our most well attended events for the thing. We also had the Vando Jam Session, which is a great jam session that happens at the Iron Post. That's always heavily attended, and it's great. We bring in some artists from Van Doren, which is a very well known saxophone company, and working with reeds and that type of thing. And this thing is very well attended, definitely. We did the composer workshop, as Derek just talked about as well. And we continue to do, this is exactly what we were talking about, the audio and visual recording, working with Alan Hall to get the students involved as well in trying to record, making sure that audio and visual and that type of thing is on point. So the grant use we brought in, we were able to bring in Adam Larson Group. Adam Larson was local, is definitely somebody that knows this area and that type of thing. And then we also had a local drummer, and I'm going to butcher his last name, but I know it's Paul, but his last name is Perillis. And Paul, really, really fantastic. And all these gentlemen, now they're based in New York. I think Adam has just recently moved to Kansas City as well. Adam is a very, very up-and-coming player, and we were very, very happy to be able to get him to come out here and do his performance. So this is one of the things that I definitely want to spotlight. In 2015, when this started, it was a 2-day festival with 180 visitors. Okay, we are now to a 4-day festival, which we will see if we're going to continue to grow that or keep it at that, with 620 visitors. Okay, so in that short period of time, we have had an incredible growth. And on top of that, every year we are profitable. That cannot be said for many festivals, I think, in general. And we continue to be profitable. So that's always our goal, and to make it not only involving local and that type of thing, but also just trying to bring in the region as much as possible. Some of the partners that we've included, local music stores, of course, public libraries, private donors, and that type of thing. Future festivals, we're looking to work more with downtown businesses. We really want to engage more with more downtown businesses and getting them involved. It's great because we have the festival set up at so many different locations that we're seen around town. And so they're at least starting to see us and see what's going on and seeing more and more people come to it. So we are getting a little bit more people at least interested, and now it's time to jump on those opportunities. Elevate Urbana as a jazz and festival destination. Definitely, that's one of the things that we really want to focus on. And so, again, this is going to be our 5th year this year. We really appreciate all the support that you've given us, and we're looking to even grow this even more and continue to make this a very big event within the area. Like I said, each year we continue to have more and more people come in, more and more people see this, and because of that, show Urbana as definitely a destination spot for jazz.
Okay. Anyone? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Can I still show a video?
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, so I'm showing this stubbornly because I'm very proud that we've hit 100 episodes for Art Now. So let's hope it plays. Oh, it's still not playing sound. Well, of course there is. There of course is. But maybe we check real quick to see if sound will work. Check a cable. Oh, hey now. Oh. I mean, I could do it this way. Can you hear it?
Art Now is a mini documentary series featuring a wide array of local artists. We work all the time to make it a project that really features the diversity of artists and creative sectors. So we work in featuring theater producers, musicians, painters, other visual artists, experimental artists.
I'm Jason Liggett. I'm the station manager for Urbana Public Television at the City of Urbana, and I have produced almost every Art Now episode. I've run the camera and I've edited every Art Now episode and ran the camera for 93 of the what's going to be now 100 Art Now episodes. episodes.
My name is Jenny Waller, and I was on the Urbana Public Arts Commission for 2 terms, and I was one of the interviewers for Art Now.
I'm Pat Sama. I am the chair, I have been the chair of the Urbana Public Arts Commission for 9 years, and I was one of the originators of Art Now. We started the program at the very beginning, really, because we were looking for ways that we could extend what we were doing. We had only so much money, and so we had to look for ways that we could plug in things that wouldn't be expensive, and Art Now was one of the good ways to do it. I had some experience working with video where I worked at Human Kinetics before I came here, so that kind of seemed like a natural fit.
You first have to go back and understand how Art Now has progressed over the years. So when we first started this up, I think it was when Anna Hochhalter was still the arts coordinator, and it was right as she was leaving. She's like, I'm going to leave in 2 weeks, but here's Pat Salmon and Sarah Ross, and we're going to start filming this. You know, is this cool with UPTV? And I said, yeah, we can do that. And it was kind of like a morning talk show interview style. So they would sit and talk to the artists and interview them, and it was a straight 30-minute television show, and we filmed it live to tape, so I was giving them cues, and we didn't cut anything out unless something went terribly, terribly wrong, and we would bring our laptop, and we would have the artists work on the laptop, and they would go through, you know, whether it's each image or each picture of the sculpture or photograph or painting, whatever it might be, and they would say, you know, tell me a little bit about this one, tell me a little bit about that one. So in that scenario, we had a 3-camera setup, and we were switching between the 3 cameras, but there wasn't a lot of creative editing as far as, you know, what I was doing on it. And we had our start, we had our finish, we put in the lower third graphics and made sure all their images were coming through clearly, but outside of that, it was more just what you would see, you know, like Kathy Lee Gifford would host in the morning on television if she hosted an art show. And then I think it was around episode 63 or 64, we moved into more of a documentary style. So we would film 45 minutes to an hour-long interview with each artist, and then I would go through and cut that down to 15 minutes. So as far as what I'm thinking when I'm editing, you know, those, it's probably a little bit more in depth of what we want to communicate to the viewer.
I did about 6 or 7 different interviews while I was on the commission, and it was a variety of people, and it was an exposure of the different kind of art we have in Urbana. And we did sculptors, we did wood crafters, painters, photographers, hobnobs, the man that collected doorknobs and made things out of that. I mean, what a unique experience that was to meet people, all those people. We interviewed some children that were going to be performing, and so it was a nice variety, and it certainly enlarged my view of the art in Urbana. Pat was the chairman of the commission at the time, and she just said, we want you to find some people you want to interview. So I would go find these people and ask them if they wanted to be interviewed, and then would they collect some of their artwork for us? And they said yes, they were all nobody turned me down. Everybody was happy to be on Art Now. And so then I would talk to Jason, and Jason and and the artist would set up a date where we could go to their home or their studio and tape the show.
I just loved it because, you know, first of all, I just love art, period. And it was such an opportunity to go into people's homes, into artists' studios, and see what they were all about, really, to learn so much about them. And it always amazed me because almost every artist's home is just filled with art, not their own art, but art by everyone. And it's just amazing to see. Well, certainly when I started it, we were not known as well for art, and I felt it was one way that we could get the message out to the community that there were artists here, and really amazing artists, some of them quite talented, some of them even nationally known, and it was a way to get the word out about them.
I really love to invite artists to become storytellers with Art Now, so to actually think about how, as an artist, they're engaging with an audience and what brought them into art. So taking them back to even childhood, or what some of the first experiences or witnessing that they did of other people's work. Tell us about their influences, but also tell us about how they turned influence and experience and life journey into art itself. And that has been, for me, some of the most interesting parts of Art Now.
Most of the time it's like 45 minutes of great stuff, and it's like, this could really be a 45-minute, video if we wanted to do it. So it's like, what am I gonna get rid of here? Because I don't want to get rid of that, I don't want to get rid of that. And at the same time, we have to make sure that we continue to tell their story appropriately. I can't just go in and do a hack job and get rid of stuff and edit it real quickly just so it's 15 minutes and say, there, that fits. We have to listen to what they're saying. We have to tell the story from the start, as we talk about, the first time they were inspired to create art and all the way through college and as they developed and moved into different mediums. So there's a lot that goes behind the thought process now than what there originally was. When we originally did this in the interview style, a lot of the work was done by the host. Most of those were hosted by Pat Salmon, who's now the chair of the Arts Commission, was a member of the Arts Commission the whole time. And, she booked the artist. She came up with the questions. She made sure I had the image discs. I literally just showed up at the time and said, okay, I'm ready. The commissioners did a lot of the work, as well as, Greg Chu and Sarah Ross. Robin Hall even hosted at least one. And Jenny Waller hosted several episodes as well. And Sarah Ross, I think, hosted some, but that's when we moved into the documentary style. And the public arts coordinators have always done a terrific job of supporting, whatever artists that we're doing, whatever video series that we're doing with Art Now. They've always been supportive of everything that we've been doing, as has the city, in a whole.
One of the things that we've tried to do with Art Now in the last year, but over the years this has been the case, is really work to make sure that we're well representing our artist community in its full diversity. So thinking about how many different creative sectors are we representing. I've worked a lot to put creative sectors that haven't been featured now featured on the show. We've had also our oldest featured artist. She was 99, and her name's Dodie Buzzard, and she's a local painter, watercolor painter, and she's actually, I believe, turning 100 this month.
Actually, one of them that I interviewed was Harry Breen, and he, of course, a famous artist in town, and he was my professor when I was in school, so that was fun to interview him. Mike Tripetti, I interviewed him because he was an actor. He is an actor, and he's done a lot of theater work, and I thought, well, that would be a variety from the artists, painters. And so he came on, and he was going to be doing a show over at the Station Theater. So we talked about that, and the things that he's done, the Pens to Lens program that he's done, and some of the other artwork that a lot of times people aren't aware of the other things these artists do. And so by having the interview, we were able to bring out some of those features too.
Well, the glass blowing one was good because he actually did a complete demonstration of glass blowing, and we just kind of taped it in real time, and that was definitely something to watch. I loved working with Gerald Guthrie, partly because he's one of my favorite artists, partly because we got to do video, which was a little different too, and also because he had been an instructor at the University of Illinois, and you could tell just he was very good at explaining how he started out with the concept and how he moved that concept into actually the final piece. And that was really something to do too. You never quite knew what was going to happen when you went on site. I would often try to get there beforehand and check it out a little bit, but it wasn't always possible. One of the biggest surprises was when I was going to interview Michael Schwegman, and he was a potter. He had his own studio and store there where he sold his works. And when I came in, he really surprised me because he said, I don't really want to sit there and just talk to you. I want to be working all the time we're talking. And so if you look at that video, he is, in fact, from the very beginning, working all the time we're doing the interview.
We did interview a poet, Aaron Ammons, who is now the Champaign County Clerk, former alderman for the City Council, who was a poet, and we went to his house, and he said, hey, I'm a gardener, let's just go film in the garden. And I was like, all right. And I remember his kid was home, I think it was Amir, and Amir was home sick from school that day or something. But so we had this sick kid roaming around the yard, and we're outside like among all the vegetables, and he's just like reciting poetry. And I'm like, yeah, this is Urbana. This is so much Urbana. I always tell people the favorite aspect of my job in the city of Urbana is the variety. So I think Art Now is part of that variety. I get to, record Urbana City Council meetings, and I get to work with Urbana high school students to film football games, and the local pro wrestling outfit sends us videos to run on UPTV, and we film a number of musicians with WEF sessions, and Art Now is just another thing that UPTV provides its services for, another aspect of this community. So I think that's, Art Now is part of the bigger picture to me.
I remember, for instance, Mark Anthony Macon telling me that his work, which if you know Mark Anthony's work, is really comical and is really playful in general, but also plays with color, plays with imagery. He's a self-described Dadaist, and he will say, "My work is done when it makes me laugh," and I love that. So every artist can tell you a little bit about their unique experiences with their work. When I interviewed Latrell Bright, we did so at the Station Theater, and Latrell's a theater maker. And so it was really interesting because in that space, we barely had to set up any additional lighting. We had the lights of the theater cast down upon her. She had so much to say about her journey into art and the kind of work she's making now. It's such a gift to be able to listen to artists tell you their story, to go beyond their work to really understand who they are as people. When I interviewed Patrick Earl Hammy, we were in his studio, which is actually held within the Armory on campus. And if you know the Armory, it's kind of this space that now holds just a whole lot of things at the university. Of course, it has a big, sort of gym in the middle of it. But he has an artist studio in there, and I didn't even know it was there. I'd been taking classes, I'd been involved in other ways. But he does very large-scale, beautiful paintings, large-scale work. And so to see how he's making use of a tall-ceilinged space within the Armory to have these huge works, because he builds all of his canvases himself, and to watch him paint in there was a really unique experience.
I'm a person who likes to organize things and who likes to think about it, but it also gave me a real chance for each artist to get in depth with their art. I mean, that was one of the things I most loved about it, because I would get to see all the different kinds of art they did in different periods of their work, and to really just absorb it and think, okay, what do these have in common? What inspired them? And to just get a little deeper in each one of them. I hope that it's reached quite a few people, not just here in town, but now that it's on YouTube, that it can reach people even outside our community, and they can see what our art community is like here.
So we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of Art Now, but we hope Art Now continues well into the future for the city. We are never at a loss of who to feature. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of deserving artists in this town. Everyone who makes and creates and performs and plays should be on Art Now and should be featured. So I look forward to years and years of this show continuing. I think it does a wonderful job of continuing to elevate local stories of the artists that are in our community, that are our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, our co-workers. These are the people that make the city of Urbana a unique place to live. And for us, it's a really it's a big privilege to be able to share these stories with others, to really help elevate the work of artists in the community.
Thank you. I'm glad that you bared with me for that. It is it's really special to have hit 100 episodes. It's also special to see Jason Liggett in front of the camera and not behind, but that's notwithstanding. I want to thank especially Pat Salmon for being a part of the filming of that, Ginny Waller, former arts commissioner, and of course Jason and the staff of UPTV that make Art Now possible. If you or someone you know wants to be on Art Now, you have plenty of chances. So thank you for letting me show that.
Okay. Any other announcements? If not, can I have somebody move to, I move we close the meeting? Second? Okay, we're done.